Hi, I'm Francis.
Hi, I'm Alden.
Welcome back to ChattyAF.
And we wanted to let you know that this podcast is also on Spotify. Link in the description. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Please leave a comment. Trying to boost it in the algorithm just a little bit.
Great. Today we have Andrew here.
Hello.
Andrew, would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay.
Do some really cool things.
So hello everyone, I'm Andrew and I'm now studying Artificial Intelligence graduate program. And also I'm in the second year, like the master degrees. And I also love to draw comics, and I drew some little comics in my Instagram. You can check it out in ft.Andrew. And then also I would like to do some exercise and like some nature searching for like animals, and also lots of different things we will talk about later. So welcome.
Yeah, great.
Right. So you mentioned a little bit about comics, which is like really cool. We've never had someone who draws comics on the podcast.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering is, what are some of your inspirations for designing these comics?
I think that lots of inspiration of our life, but sometimes because I think this time, lots of generation people, they would like to read something very depressed and also like negative comic, because this atmosphere just maybe since I was in junior high or senior high, lots of different kinds of comic they are like the hard pressure and bring everyone sad, they will be popular. And I just think that this is way a little bit too much. So I would like to draw something inspiration, more inspiring people for like that. So at the first time that I have a failure before, like 2 years ago, and then because I would like to heal myself, so I drew a little comic. Let me just introduce this comic a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
So the content is about that. There is a fish, and this fish is joining a marathon, so he keep running. But he feel very tired because he's a fish. Yeah.
Of course.
Oh sure. Yeah. So there's a lot of different animals are running in a marathon. But at that time, the fish found he is so tired and depressed because he couldn't win anyone, and he still need to use lots of energy to run for that marathon. And at the moment, he found that there is a river alongside the marathon races. So he just think and then jump into the river. And at that time, he feel that this is the place he should be in. And he felt that he's very good at swimming, and he would like to do more energy and put more effort into swimming, because this is a place what he should belong to. So this comic just make myself feel more comfortable at some situation, because I know that there are some places are suitable for you and there are some places it's not. But if you found the places, you could be more of you like that. But after that, I just want to like share my comic with my friends, so I opened an Instagram account. But after that, lots of people flood into my account, like 200 or 300 people, and share and comment. And I feel inspiration. I feel more like it is a sense of, I think lots of people knowing you, and it's very happy. So I keep drawing more comic like that, and short comics. And also more and more people and artists are connect and communicate with me about the comics things. And I feel this is a place where I belong to. Yeah.
That's great. And
Thanks.
And how do you find it, kind of like, I guess, putting yourself out there? Was it kind of scary at first?
I think it is not scary because I have drawn more like illustration or pixel art before. Yeah, I have some accounts that are like illustration and something. So I think it is maybe when I was in senior high, I started to build some accounts for recording my illustration. Yeah, so it is like a habit. Like I do a lot of time, and then I just used to it. So after getting used to that situation, I just found that sharing my comic is not a hard thing. the hard one is to create more comics to spread. Yeah.
And how do you get more inspiration to come up with these different comics?
I think that it depends on the stories. So for the short stories, because short stories just have like 10 pages or maybe up to 15, that's the most. So lots of time that I would like to draw the short stories, I just start to write down the first block in a comic. And then after that, I just think that some kind of story flow will flood into my brain as sometimes, especially at night. Yeah. So I just draw a whole comic like maybe for 6 or 8 hours and then complete a full story. And also I think that there is a big point. That point is about not to paint or draw too detailed. Because lots of time I think in the past time I just want to draw more like vividly or more maybe concrete like that. Because I'm scared of that. Some people will think that, oh, your drawing is ugly like that. But after that, I found out that lots of art master or something that who is like specific in art field, they would like to say that in fact, whether you put lots of effort in drawing or not, your drawing are the same to them because they are at a high level. So I just think that, so maybe sometimes you just use your confidence. You will have your confidence to put your work out, and some people will like that, no matter it is detailed or not. The key is to publish, is to share this work and done these stories, not to like draw 1 page or 2 pages and stop. Just try to make a whole story, and then you can keep going and update your skills too, because you produce a lot. And this is like a good cycle of upgrade, I think. Yeah.
Wow, how do you balance everything? I just got here and we're teaching evening classes and we're doing evening observations, and I'm trying to get into like new hobbies or just find things. I mean, you're trying to do guitar.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just so hard, and I remember you saying you're a master's student, right? So like, how do you balance everything?
I just think that because do you know that there's a book called Atomic Habits?
Oh yeah, I love the book.
That is like my favorite, one of my favorite books. And also it talks about lots of different ways to learn new things in a very efficiently way. And also my teacher, like Chen Qinghan, he is a very good professor in my department, and he told me one thing. I think that is also important. It is about the cross field. So the theory is about that when you specific in one skills, you will put time and effort in that, and you will be maybe the top of the skill. But it takes maybe like this time.
Yeah, a long time.
But if you just do lots of different things in different fields, like maybe 5 fields, but every field just use this kind of time, you will think that, oh, you just people who have lots of interest in lots of fields, but you are not specific, or you are not specialized in that field. But in fact, when you like learn more things, these things could cross over. For example, I learned bouldering. You know bouldering?
Yeah,
yes. I learned bouldering like 4 months before, and then when I learning how to step on a stone, I found that I could put these kind of skills into another interest of myself. That is nature. I think it is like maybe just finding animals in the mountains. Yeah, because me and there's a bunch of friends of mine. We would like to find animals and record them, and maybe just catch them for seeing the detail of them like that. But we need to go up to the mountain, and sometimes it's dangerous. But I can use the skill of how to step it on the mountain. So in fact, that truly help another field of skills. So these different fields will cross over and then get a bigger process of more than your thoughts, I think.
Wow, no, that's so cool. I mean, Alden loves his nickname is All Mountain.
Yeah.
So I personally didn't even think about like the cross. What is it called?
Oh, I think it's like the field of crossover. I haven't think of the
The skills are intersectional.
intersection of these skills.
I mean, you do so many things. I wonder. Yeah, you want to talk about that?
So I actually, this is a good question because, and this is really cool that you like to do that because I find that I'm, I've never like caught any animals, but in terms of like going to the mountains and seeing wildlife, like I absolutely adore that here in Taiwan. I think it's super underrated.
Yeah.
This past weekend I went to Chilai,
Yeah.
and it was there that I got pretty close to the Formosan Cerro, which is sort of like a shangyang. It's like that kind of rare mountain goat animal that I don't think exists anywhere else. At least that specific species doesn't. It's fascinating, really beautiful moment. And then it was at night when I'm going out of the cabin to get ready for the sort of sunrise hike to the main peak. And it was there that I heard crunching and munching sounds, and I turn on my headlamp and there's a whole bunch of sandbar deer, the shui lu, and it's a buck and a doe, and then a couple others. I see their eyes off in the distance reflecting in the light.
Oh my God!
Really beautiful. But I am curious, of all of the sort of high altitude friends we've got up there in the mountains, what are some of your favorite experiences with seeing wildlife out there?
I think that your animals are bigger than this because most of the time, one of my friends is studying insects. So most of the time we just find these little creatures, but also like some reptiles, like snakes or something. I remember that the first time we climbed at night. Do you know that there are lots of creatures on the mountain at night? And the first time we climbed, it is called. In fact, there is a special noun called, I think it's like night watching, like that. And we go to the mountain at I think it's just maybe a little distant to my house, but it's very near. And then at that time, we just climb up and hear lots of sound of frog. Yeah, these frog are, they are singing. And we just think, oh, that's cute. And we found that, there are just over lots of different frogs and are alongside the road. And we just try to catch them and watch them. And then maybe just would like to know what kind of frog it is. But at that moment, we just hear another sound. And this sound is like something is like this kind of sound.
Sure.
So we just stop and then use our flashlight to run over, and then found there's a big snake. And that snake, I think, is maybe 1 meter or 2 meters.
Wow.
And that kind of snake is 6 of the poisonous snake in Taiwan. Yeah, it is great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we are very, I think, excited. Because we are a bunch of friends love animal, and we just say, shh, oh my gosh, and then keep watching that. And it turns out that the snake just wants to walk. They don't want to attack us like that. But we have a really good experience that night because we watched that snake.
Yeah. Wow. It's pretty rare, right?
Yeah, I think, but I think that maybe not rare as yours. Yeah, because these goats, I think they are super rare like that.
Interesting. Although I will say this, I've never seen a snake that long. Like
No, yeah, me either. I've seen shorter ones, but nothing that big.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because like you have the comics, you have the animals, you got the Pokemon shirt on.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, is Pokemon an inspiration for you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I designed lots of different creatures.
Okay, interesting.
I think it is affect a lot.
Have you like read the manga or something? Are you actually, which manga or like Western comics kind of inspire you?
Western comics, that's a hard question because most of the time I just read Japanese and also maybe sometimes Taiwanese. Japanese comic.
Sure.
And for now, if you would like to say one manga, I would highly recommend Hunter x Hunter.
Okay. I was just watching that.
Yeah.
Well, the TV or the animation.
I watched the comics for 9 times.
Whoa. Okay, Hunter
Oh,
x Hunter.
Like
Who's
front
your
to
favorite?
back.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite character?
I think the favorite character is. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think because lots of different characters are very characteristic.
Right.
Yeah, especially the thoughts of these characters inside their mind. They are so concrete.
Right.
You will think that they are like the real humans because sometimes they are bad, sometimes they are good.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Okay. So you prefer the comic version?
Yes, I prefer
Hunter.
comic. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll check that out. I'm watching it right now.
Yeah, really great.
It is.
I think the
maybe I can
animation
switch
is
over.
really good.
Maybe I'll switch over to manga.
Yes.
Okay.
Sweet.
I was just watching it at the office.
Shelly, if you're watching this, we're
I'm
just
kidding.
using this for conversation.
Yes.
That didn't actually happen.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah, he just dream of that.
Yeah, exactly,
of course.
exactly.
It's only a dream. No, I mean, I'm curious. Do you have any questions for us?
Questions. I think that maybe how do you think about Taiwan? Taiwan's English learning, like the situation or environment. What do you think about that? Yeah.
For me, so I was in Elon 6 years ago teaching elementary school, and now that I'm here 6 years later teaching university, the amount of times I'm impressed with how well students are speaking English is just really amazing to see. I don't know how impactful I was when I was there at elementary school. Like I couldn't see it or feel it really, but now that I'm here and I'm working, whether it's one-on-one or even this podcast, we're having a conversation in English, and it's really cool. But speaking with other guests, it's just I know they all you all start really young at cram schools, so that's also interesting, and also the goal. What is it?
The 2030
Yeah.
bilingual goal. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's also interesting as well. I don't know how I feel about that, but I mean, my job. Just providing my job, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree that the 2030 bilingual goal is it's not very clear. I'm not really sure what it means, and I've been living here for 3 years. But I do have to say, considering the jump from Mandarin to English is an incredible jump. There's a huge gap. The fact that so many students have found a way to make English a part of their lives through their hobbies has been really good. We've had a couple guests on the show who have talked about their experiences with like music and TV and things like that, and that has been really fascinating to hear, because I think going forward, if Taiwan can play into that a little bit more, play into the student interests, kind of make it fun, it would definitely be beneficial to their ability to learn and start, producing the language. Because another thing that I find is that Taiwanese students' receptive skills is that listening and reading. Yes.
You got it.
English,
Yes,
right?
You got it.
Listening and reading. They're pretty good. Most students are quite capable of doing both of those to a proficient level. It's really the productive skills, that speaking and writing, that a lot of students need work on. And I think if they were encouraged more to speak and to kind of play with the language, make mistakes, but also like start using it more, and to not really have that sort of like sense of embarrassment or people coming down on them for making mistakes. The more and more we can include that, the better it will be. I'm not an expert in the Finnish education system, but I do know that loads of students in Finland have time that they get to spend outdoors in the forest, learning about a variety of creatures and flora in multiple languages. It's not just Finnish. And so as a result, I think if Taiwan could play into that a little bit more, it would really bolster the students' desire to speak and to feel comfortable speaking.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually funny. Based on all your interests, I think that you would do very well in the Finnish system.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I just think that you just mentioned that they use language in the forest and learn. I think that is a really good point because for me, I use this method as well. I think that the main point of how I learn English is to make yourself think that you are not learning English. You are using this language to do another things you would like to do. I think that's a main point because, for example, that you just mentioned that sometimes we would like to make the English learning more funnier and maybe just play some games. In Taiwan, lots of different teachers, they use the new method, like create a game or a discussion for students to join. I think that's a good step, but we need to step more. Because the game is just a game, but it is not the core of the. It couldn't hook our desire.
Yes.
You need to find a point. For example, I would like to know more information about Pokemon because I watched some videos about Pokemon battling. Yeah, I play video games.
Yeah.
So I would like to search some YouTubers who are really like the world champion about Pokemon, and he is analyzing these different Pokemons.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yes.
Is it Wolf?
Yeah.
Wolf, if you're watching this, how's it going?
Yeah, really nice. And I think that the point is we would like to have another goal. It is not related to English, but you need to use English to know that. So you will have desire because that's the only way you can grab this technique or skills. But you are using English, you didn't find that. So you won't think that learning English or speaking English is very hard or pressure because you just need to use that, like breathing, eating.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think the application is what maybe you're getting at, like how can you apply English to your daily life?
Yes.
Instead of being in the classroom, instead of learning it through a textbook.
Yes.
And even games, right? I think like you said, the games is a great first step. You really get them hooked into playing.
Yes.
But sometimes, at least when I was teaching in elementary school, it felt like the students were just, I mean, of course they're like little, right? So of course they're just having fun. But that's what I was trying to say earlier. I don't know if they really retain and internalize and really learn the vocab word, right? Or were they just playing the game?
Yeah.
So I think it's really important for them to, if they could then use those vocab words that we taught in their day-to-day life, whether it's playing guitar or going hiking or all the different interests they have.
Yes.
How do you think Taiwan can do that? If you were to give some recommendation to teachers, or even myself to professors, right? We give workshops, we do our own micro course. So what's the best way to, what do you think is the best way to do that?
I think, in fact, it's kind of hard because
Teachers they have a hard job.
Especially when someone who don't want to learn English. I think that's a problem.
Yeah,
because there are a bunch of people who don't want to, they don't think English is important. But maybe for 10 years later, they just found it. And at that time, they think, oh, I don't have a boost. But in fact, they have. In fact, they have. But maybe the job, maybe the life is too much heavy, hard pressure like that. So I think if we could create like a group, and then this group are full of people who would like to use English and learn English, that's the first step. Because we need to gathering a bunch of people who really want to improve them.
Like English corner. Right?
Yeah, like that.
English
Yeah. Oh, talk about English corner. I started my own English corner at my lab.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Like last year, and every week we just hang around the table, and lots of my lab member. We are going to have an English conversation for 1 or 2 hours.
Whoa.
And sometimes we just play board game, but in English.
Yeah.
And also sometimes we like do other things. I just mentioned that sometimes you need to use other things to learn. Like for example, we have a coffee party, and I just show how to
chat.
Yeah, because I would like to do some coffee things. So I teach them I teach them how to brew the coffee and how to grind the beans, how to pick.
Yeah, Francis is in coffee club here, so
Oh,
if you guys want to
I was in coffee club too.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And also there is other things, like for example, we have another one called English Hard Corner. Yeah, this is another version of English Corner. I created myself. And the main goal is to learn the way how foreigner talking to. For example, every time we need to prepare 5 really cool slang.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So we will like to use them in our conversation and keep remind of these different slang. Like the last week we just teach, and maybe the last week we just recall, give it a recall and practice. And I found that sometimes it really helps into the English conversation, and also it helps me because I've been to when in August I went to America.
Oh,
Yeah,
where?
I went to DC, Washington.
Okay.
Yeah, because I submitted a paper about artificial intelligence and going to the conference. Yeah, and I found that it is very, I think it's cozy for me to stay at that country because lots of words are not that complex. You just use simple words and some slang, you can talk to everyone.
Yeah.
Like the taxi driver or some, maybe just the police in a museum, like that.
Oh,
it
yeah.
is okay for everything because they just use this language, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I just think that these different kind of, I think it is like a sand. This sand will build up the castle, and this castle will be your strength to do other things. Yeah.
Wow, that's very cool.
Wow. Nice. DC. How long were you in DC for?
Just for a week because just for a conference and visit some like museum like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of those museums, because I know there are kind of a lot of them. Like,
Yeah, lots of museums.
Did you have like a favorite?
I think I don't have favorite because lots of museums are separated into little museum.
Okay.
For example, there's a big museum like I think it's maybe like American History Museum,
Sure.
and there are lots of different things. Like the first floor there, they maybe have 7 or 8 different kind of sections.
Yeah, so it was like the mini exhibits
Yeah.
in addition.
It's like you walk into some encyclopedia.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting because lots of different things are coming to mind and brain.
Yeah.
Just keep I think that keep learning these different kind of like information and also historical things and go there and then when you come out you just think, wow, I see more of the world like that. Yeah.
Right.
Have you been to DC, Alden?
Actually, I was there last summer as well,
Wow.
like this past August, and it
Oh.
was
Oh,
and it was with a couple of friends.
Ah.
We were also like on the mall, like going to some of the museums and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun, and it kind of reminded me that like DC actually has like a decent metro system. They actually have a lot of like walkable spaces.
Pretty clean.
It's
Yes,
pretty
they're
clean.
pretty clean.
Yeah.
And also very safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think.
No. It definitely is.
Yeah,
And-
certain areas for sure.
Yeah, like it's it was kind of fascinating because like I haven't been back to the States all that much since I left in 2019. Basically, as soon as I graduated college, I was in Europe and then I was here, and I've only made 2 trips back, and only one of those was to DC. So it's kind of cool that we went to the the same place and everything. Yeah. When was the last time? Oh, you've been back. You've been back for a minute.
Where?
Like the States.
Oh yeah. I was so after Elon, I traveled for a little bit, and I was in Hong Kong for a little bit, and then the pandemic hit, so I moved back to California, where I'm from, and been there the past 4.5 years, teaching, working with students and helping them with college and career. So that's what I've been doing the past. Huh?
Really nice.
Yeah, no, it's been really fun, but the first group of advisors I had, they were in 9th grade, and this past May they graduated, or past June they graduated. So I was like, okay, they're leaving, I need to leave too. So then I'm back here in Taiwan, but I really want to continue exploring and seeing what else is out there. But just the points you made today, I'm like, oh wow, maybe I should just try a lot of different hobbies or different interests, because I've always been someone who, if I pick up something, I really want to get good at it, and I always I hyper focus, and I really work on whatever that is, the task, and so maybe I should just try the guitar, I've never done it, and I should just try it,
Yeah, I play bass and violin.
Wow.
So I also play lots of different instruments too, because sometimes you just want to try that. For example, I tried to learn drum.
Okay.
But I found that I don't have enough time to play the drum because the drum is too big.
Yeah.
I couldn't buy it in my house. But I just tried to experience that. And I found, it is very interesting for another instrument.
Yeah.
And I also think I can put it into my comics, maybe in the future, to draw a music comic.
That's so cool.
Yeah, these experiences are real and touched.
No, of course. My friend dragged me to a dance class once, and it was really hard. And ever since then, I was like, I'm not gonna try dance, but maybe dance, things I might not be good at, or maybe I don't have a lot of interest right now. But if I just try it, maybe I can apply new skills or just learn new skills so that those skills can overlap with other hobbies and interests I have. So appreciate you sharing that. I don't know. That was a really good point.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to try because you don't know whether you are the genius of this field or not, because you haven't tried. Right. Maybe you are very good at trumpet.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, or the guitar. Maybe I'm better than you.
Hey, you could be.
Maybe you are a good bouldering player.
Yeah, true. I mean, I like that. That's very quotable. Maybe you're the genius of something, but you don't know.
That's gonna go on the short.
Yeah. Can we get that in the thumbnail? I'm actually curious though. When it comes to bass, is it bass guitar?
Bass, four-string bass.
And is it the bass guitar or the upright one?
I think bass guitar.
Bass guitar, okay. And do you use finger style or slap or tap or anything?
Sometimes I just do some slapping, but most of the time I just think that when it comes to jamming with fun people, or just find some new chords by yourself and working bass to along with some music, it will be fun for me. But for now, I just work sometimes for church, because sometimes church they need some bassists to help them, and I go to church maybe sometimes on weekends, so I will help them to do the music things and also play bass. Yeah, I think it's a win-win.
Okay, cool. And do you did you learn from YouTube or did you learn?
Yeah, I learned from YouTube, but at the first time it was because I have learned violin. Yeah. So the violin is really hard.
It's so hard.
Sure.
So when it comes to bass,
experiences with that?
Yeah, I have experience. Yeah, we had to take orchestra when I was a student.
Oh yeah, I did too. Yeah.
And I hated it.
Okay.
So the story I tell about playing violin, I was really bad at it, and so we would have these quizzes, these tests, and the first chair would always quiz us, and I was good friends with the first chair, and so I would pass those quizzes, but then time to perform, right? You have to perform. This is actually really embarrassing, but as we're playing, my bow is not on the string. Oh. I'm just following.
Oh, you're just mimicking.
Yeah, I'm just mimicking the people. But that was, I think, in middle school, so I haven't touched a string instrument in forever. So I'm just
because it is too hard, so maybe it becomes a nightmare for you to do the string.
Yeah, it was really hard.
Maybe
and it's not something I'm interested in. I think that's what we're talking about with learning English, right? I didn't have that interest. And I was young, and it was just really difficult. But yeah, I haven't played violin in a long time. So I admire those who can play it. It's so difficult.
I've never played the violin, but I do understand that any inaccuracy with the finger can lead to either poor tone or just straight up the wrong note, and you have to be very precise, very accurate. I played cello in orchestra, but I didn't really vibe with the teacher after a certain point. She tried to convince me to stop singing and doing other musical things to focus on cello. I didn't really like that, so I eventually translated the skills that I got from cello, 4 strings, kind of similar sized instrument, to the bass guitar later when I was in a high school band, and nobody wanted to play the bass.
Yes.
So, you know, I had one friend who was like shredding on the guitar, one friend who was like really cracked at drums, and they were just kind of like, yeah, so you can sing. We also need a bass, like a bass player. Here you go, you know, like you're gonna play bass, and I said, all right.
Yeah. But bass have its own, I think, the unique way to help the band because it's like the basic of the band. If there are no bass, the song is very like light. If you couldn't feel the tension of the chords and these different music notes.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, bass is super important, and whether it's like out in front or in the background, it's always need bass and drums.
Yes.
How long did you play violin, and how long have you now played the bass?
I think violin is since my maybe 16 years at elementary school.
Yes, it's been a minute.
But maybe I just learned like 5 years, and then after that I just sometimes do some little performance with my. I joined a like orchestra in my elementary school, and these orchestras are combined with lots of different age of people, but the same thing is we graduated from that elementary school. So we still perform like 2 times or 1 time a year.
Wow. And you still perform with violin?
Yeah. Like last time we went to Taichung Opera. Yeah, like that. So I think it is a good thing to gathering a bunch of people who love the music and do the performance together. Yeah.
I mean, orchestra, bands, yeah. If you have to play in like a specific type of setting, do you prefer like playing with an orchestra, or do you prefer to keep it like kind of smaller, just a few people in the band?
I think I prefer smaller, but also orchestra have its status because sometimes something you can only feel in a bunch of lots of people.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a different atmosphere. But for me, I also prefer the small group, like few people, and then we can talk to each other like, oh, you need to be louder, or maybe we can create a new chord, new flow together. I think that situation is really nice for music. Yeah.
Very cool. And with your masters, what are you first year or second year?
Second year.
Oh, so when you graduate?
I think I will.
Yeah, there you go.
I think I will.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Yeah. What are your plans, and do you plan on using English in your job?
Yeah, of course. But I think that because lots of time, although the artificial intelligence help us to translate, and even some kind of new technique, you can translate into voice, and almost could be the real time. But I still think that learning English is very important. For the first point is I think it is the most everyone know, because we need to talk to other people. Right? And sometimes these people could only use language to like exchange our thoughts. But if you text, or maybe you use artificial intelligence to help you, it is not that convenient. And sometimes some thoughts will slip, like for maybe just 3 seconds, they just slip over.
Yeah, sure.
But we need to catch that inspiration, so we need to use our English speaking skills to talk to each other. But I think the second thing that is more important for me is the new way of thought. Because I found that when you speak English and also use the brain to think in English, it will be a new version of the world. For example, I tried, it is kind of weird, but I tried to talk to myself in English for maybe 30 minutes and just talk about like a daily, like maybe the speaking daily like that. And I talked to myself, I found that lots of my thoughts are changed into a more maybe flexible way. I don't know why. I guess it is because that the language, in fact, they have different kind of, I think, the flow and also the usage of different kind of maybe vocabularies or some things. So sometimes you couldn't find proper vocabularies for this situation in Chinese. So you will use like in other word skills. But when you use it in other word skills, you will turn it into a more like maybe American way to talk about this situation or to describe the things you want to talk about. But when it comes to this translation, it will get yourself more like fit into another country's style. And at that time, your thoughts will change because you will find that when you are thinking of something, you will use like the Western thought to take a look at this situation. For example, maybe if I use my Chinese brain, you know what I'm saying. So maybe when I use my Chinese brain to come up with the comic stories, I will think a very concrete story. But maybe it is not that magical, not that interesting, but it is structured. But when I use my maybe English brain to come up with a story, it will be very flexible. Lots of different like magical creatures or something that belongs to Western things. Because for example, dragon and long, they are different words, right?
Yeah.
But in fact, they are kind of alike in some ways. So when you use dragon in English, you will think of the dragon who have maybe a big wings.
Yeah.
But if you use long in Chinese, it's just like a snake. Yeah, this is an example like that.
Yeah, I did a project in college actually for like an East Asian art history course. Like my final project for that class was comparing the two and talking about actually exactly what you're referring to, and also like the sort of conversation about how the culture informs the idea of what the thing is. Specifically for the Eastern dragon being something maybe more benevolent, more wise and knowledgeable, whereas in the West it's like, they're greedy, they hoard wealth, they hoard goods, there's something that is a problem in a lot of the old stories.
Yeah. Do you know that there's a novel called Babel? Babel. Yeah, B-A-B. Like in the Bible, there's a tower.
Oh, like Babel.
Babel.
Yeah.
And there's a novel called Babel. And this novel is talking about what I'm saying is the different vocabularies because the translation of the different vocabularies and they will create a magical powers. Yeah. I just want to say that this novel is really great and sure to everyone. Yeah.
Sweet. I really like the discussion of like Western versus Eastern brain.
Especially when it comes to lots of different language, it will create more different situation for that things.
Yeah. It's really cool that you've been able to harness kind of a bit of both. I mean, that's like it's so fascinating, and it's like I think that has the potential to create some of like the best stories. When you can kind of play on like both elements and to sort of navigate the line between the two.
Yeah, and you get to connect with more audience too, right?
Yeah.
You talked about your comics, and I'm curious. Besides your IG, do you have any other ways that do you have physical copies or like what's a way we can check out these comics?
Oh, okay. So you can check my comics on my Instagram or maybe some like Twitter. But most of the time I just put it into Instagram. But also like there was an event called Taichangji in Taiwan, and that is an event gathering lots of different like illustration artists, comic artists, or something like artists. Yeah, we all get together and there are lots of different stands, like maybe 200.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and there are lots of different people going to the event and then talk to me and ask me some question about the comics, or I will sell my little comic. Yeah, I just get the copies from backdoor. Yeah. And then maybe they just pay me for some money and I give them the copies. And it is a good experience to communicate with these readers because you will get a thought of what reader thoughts. And also these readers sometimes give you feedback that feels more concrete than the comments or the message from online because you are face to face together, and then you can share your mind, share your thoughts to them. Then it is a good cycle of readers and creators, and also you can meet other very famous creators and very inspirational new artists, and it is a really good experience for me. Yeah,
that's awesome. We're gonna have to post your IG and some copies of your books onto the podcast and just see what's up. Yeah. I'm very excited to check some of this out because the prompts you were talking about, the first one, reminds me of just fish out of the water.
Yes.
That experience of just being in a comfortable environment.
Yes.
And then for you, for the fish, jumping into the river and being somewhere that feels right. You just thrive. So that's really cool. I'm excited to read that one.
In fact, there's a second episode.
Oh, wow.
And the second episode is talk about an eagle. The eagle is swimming too. It is a friend of the fish.
Oh,
wow. But the fish just told eagle that maybe you can try to fly.
Damn.
But the eagle say, oh, I know that I'm good at flying, but I choose to swim because I really love to swim.
I love that.
That's the second one.
Damn, okay. I can't wait to read all these.
Big fan.
But it's in Chinese, kind of.
I want to practice my Chinese anyway.
Okay.
One of my goals coming to Taiwan, coming back, is really to improve my Chinese. And so, reading was not on my list, but I'm going to try.
Yeah.
Really focusing on speaking right now.
Yeah, I think learning different language have some same point. Like how to learn English, you can try to put this experience into how to learn Chinese. Maybe you can have to. I think the time I really love to learn English is when I was in senior college time. And there was a teacher called Grace. Do you know?
Yeah, we know Grace. She teaches freshman English too? Or
Yes.
Yeah, we've been to her class. So.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite teachers.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, because she teach me how to learn English in a new way. Because she had a class called self-paced learning, and this class is teach you how to learn English by yourself. And she teach how to shadowing, and in other skills, it is like if you don't know how to describe the things, you just use in other skill to describe. Like the green one, and it is shaped in nature like that, and the answer is leaves. Right. But I don't know how to say leaves at the time, if like that. And she really helps me that after that class, I started to learn English myself because I found that it is really interesting to learn English. And it's also very happy to use English into other fields, like communicate with foreigners or post something in English and watch YouTube videos, watch series, especially when it comes to maybe novels. It is writing English at first, and then translate it into Chinese. But there is a problem that you couldn't get a tone of the original author. So sometimes we really need to learn another language. And I think the most important thing is point, because point is hard to translate. The point have everything that I think no matter the vocabulary or flow they just use, it is hard to translate into another language.
Sweet. I really love that aspect of self-paced learning and not really needing to rush. And again, making it real. This is something that I hope that the Taiwanese government and schools around the country can implement it.
Yeah, really appreciate your knowledge, Andrew. I've certainly learned a lot, and it was just so great to have you on this podcast, and hopefully you can bring some of your other colleagues and classmates from English Hard Corner.
Yeah, maybe I can.
You can invite them here and we can chat with them. But yeah, well, time to do your thing.
Time to do your thing. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us on the ChattyAF podcast. Be sure to check out Andrew's comics, and be sure to check out our other episodes, also on Spotify. And don't forget to, like I said at the beginning, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know how we're doing, and we'll see you all next time.
Oh wait, I want to share something.
Yes.
Because I just talk about the different fields. You can do different things at the same time, in fact. And listening to podcasts and do another things is a good way.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can listen to this podcast and do some like drawing or reading or maybe exercise. Yeah, especially when you are maybe do a like exercise or training at home. You don't want to do anything, but you can listen to the podcast and also learning English. That is the triple way.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is why we have the podcast.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. When you're not doing anything, put it on.
It's ChattyAF. Sweet, mate.
Thank you.